Everyone who doesn't know me, my name is Carl Sanfilippo. I'm the broker owner of RE/MAX First in East Brunswick, and I'm one of the owners of RE/MAX First Realty 2 in Cranford with my partner Olivier Lewis. Once a month we do trainings like this. Like I said, we announced the August and September trainings. This is one of my favorite trainings to do. I've done it before, and we're going to dig deep in this training, why this training now is more important than ever. And at the end of it, especially for the agents who are in the RE/MAX office, I'm going to show you how we already automated the follow-up process for you so you can prospect at a higher level with FSBOs. So we'll get to that. First things first, in order to be an effective prospector, you must master your listing presentation. A lot of realtors aren't great prospecting for listings because, to be frank, they're not that confident during the listing presentation. And I always ask this question in the room: how many people here have a system for listings? So what I mean by a system with listings, and people who have been in my listing presentation class, I go really deep into the system. Who here, when a seller calls them and says, listen, I'd like you to come over to my house and give me an evaluation, I'm thinking about moving. How many people in this room have a system of exactly what happens from that phone call to after the listing appointment? Right? And is that system the same thing every time? In my opinion, is if you systemize your listing process from phone call to after the appointment, the more confident you're going to be in your presentation, and it's funny, you're going to be a little bit of a better prospector. And what I'm about to say might not be popular, but not everybody in this room is wired to be a big listing agent. Dealing with listings and dealing with buyers is two different ball games. I was wired to be a listing agent. I was not wired to be a buyer's agent. I showed houses. When I showed houses, it was awkward for me, and it was probably more awkward for the people I was showing the houses to. I would walk in and go, this is a kitchen because it has cabinets and appliances. They're like, yeah, thanks, Carl. I'm like, in my opinion, buyers in the beginning are less stressful than listings in the beginning. And if people don't think that's true, listen to this scenario. Who here has worked with the buyer? They're excited. They say, I can't wait to this weekend to go to see houses. This is going to be so much fun. And you're like, yeah, that's exactly how I want to spend my beautiful Saturday. But you're like, no, great, see you Saturday. The buyers are excited. You're showing them houses. I want to see more. This is great. This is like a free day. Hey, let's go grab lunch. You're like, oh, all right, all day. They walk through the house. I love the house. This is beautiful. Bada, this, that. Oh, yeah, great. You're standing at the door like, can we go? At least that's what I would be like. Can we go already? How many times do you want to see the kitchen? Right? Then you get to inspections and it starts turning, right? That's when it gets like, these sellers, what are you doing? You're not negotiating. This isn't like $1 million listing. Like, yeah, it's not. Right? So buyers. And some people are really wired to handle buyers. I mean, we have an agent we work with. I mean, he's like, I just want buyers. Don't even give me sellers. Right? And then there's sellers. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we're going to list the house $599. Great. What's the worst thing that can happen? Day 2, you get a full price offer. You're thinking, great, price this house right. My seller is going to be happy. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, got a full price offer in your house. Oh, great. Why'd you underprice my house? Let's increase it $25,000. Like, oh, great. What else happens with sellers? You get that phone call. You see your caller ID. You're like, oh, this seller. What's up? Yes, Mr. Seller. Somebody left a light on in my half bathroom. Did you turn it off? I want you here at all the showings. I want you to reimburse me for the electric that was used during that the light on. And people laugh when I tell this story, but this is stuff that really happened. So if you're listing at a really high volume, right, 10 or more listings, you have to be wired to be able to handle 10 of those phone calls of, hey, why is the half bath light on? Why is this? Why is that? right? And I always say, you have 1 or 2 balls, you juggle them, it's easy. You start trying to juggle 10, what happens? Things drop. That's why you have to have systems. But that's what I'm saying, and I'm not talking about anyone in particular, but in this room, some people are not going to be wired to be able to handle 10 sellers. They're going to be more wired to be able to handle 10 buyers. And that's something you have to reflect as an agent, what you're wired for, what you handle, and what you like. I'm pretty big on if you don't like doing something, don't do it. I did this FSBO training, and one of our agents loved it. She started doing FSBOs. That's all she started doing. And she went from the first time I met her as, no, I don't really like sellers, I like working with buyers. She fell in love working with FSBOs, and she doubled down on it and did great with it. We have other agents that love calling expireds. And I know when I just said that, half the people in this room just went, ugh, love calling expireds? Who loves calling expireds? That sounds like a nightmare. This agent loves calling expireds. Right? We have other agents that love working by referral. Right? It's like Brian Buffini walks on clouds. They love working by referral. And it's great. If you really love working by referral, double down working on by referral. But that's where you got to really find what you like, and you have to really double down on it. I always say this, if you go in 15 different directions, you're only going to go in one. Which direction is that? Down. So it's about finding your lane. You might walk out of this training and go, I never want to talk to a FSBO in my life. And that's fine. Other you are going to walk out of this going, you know what? I think I can do this. I just have to get over the fear of starting. Right? You're going to fail more than you succeed with prospecting. I fail all the time. My wife reminds me I fail all the time. I fail so much. But I'm really just looking to double down on the times I succeed. In baseball, if you get a hit 3 out of 10 times, you're going to make $30 million and be in the Hall of Fame. So they don't look at the 7 times that they're striking out. They're looking at the 3 times they succeed. All right? Michael Jordan didn't win every NBA championship, I think.
Everyone he went to.
All right. LeBron James didn't win every championship. I don't know about Michael, actually. And I'm a Knicks fan, so that was real brutal years when the guy would go to Atlantic City and come back and beat the Knicks in playoffs. But anyway, you guys get the point. Even with for sale by owners, I've had people come to me, you know, Carl, I tried your system. I went to your fancy training. I heard you speak, yada, yada, yada. And you know what? I tried it on one person and it didn't work. I don't know why you told me to do that. I'm like, you're right, it didn't work after one time. And I always, you know, guys have heard me speak, I say it before. It's like, man, I went to that gym one time. I ran 1 mile. And I bench pressed once, and I didn't lose 30 pounds. You know, that gym thing really doesn't work. I'm never eating grilled chicken again. But if you do it consistent, and you get attached to the process and not get attached to the results, that's when you're going to see your business grow. And that's when you start having fun with this business. You know, I'm really passionate about helping agents get out of the rut of like, this business could just drain you. I've been there. Right? You're like, everything's going wrong. When am I going to catch a break? It's about that process. It's about staying attached to it and not getting and living and dying with every single result. Not every bullet point is going to be this long, by the way. So we won't be here till 5. So your success in prospecting will greatly depend on your dialogue. I had agents who go, oh man, I got a listing appointment. And they get nervous. Like, what do I do? This isn't my zone. But the more you practice and the more you get confident, the better you're going to be and the more eager you're going to be to prospect. So you have to have the internalized dialogue. You have to have the confidence. You have to have the passion. If you're not passionate about listing houses, if you're not passionate about working with sellers, you're never going to be a huge listing agent because it's too hard. It is too hard and too competitive. We are going through one of the most competitive markets. Redfin and Purple Bricks are going after the sellers. And they are going hard after the sellers. Results, habits, mastery. Right? And it's funny, when you master this and you have that confidence, the appointments get so much easier. And you're also not afraid to walk away. I say, some of the people who heard me speak, I always say, some of the best listings you take are the ones you don't take. I've been there walking out of the house going, oh my God, I agreed for 6 months to deal with this person. What am I thinking? And a month into it, I'm like, you know what, Carl, what were you thinking? It's a great feeling telling somebody no. Can you list my house? Absolutely not. Why? For many reasons, but I cannot take your listing. And just think in the back of your head, let someone else deal with you. All right? And I know that sounds harsh, but that's the reality, because not everyone's going to blend with somebody else. That's life. I could walk away from a listing because I'm not going to blend with somebody, but then Kim could blend perfectly with that person. That's life. Why prospect for listings, right? I'm always saying this too, is you really want to leverage listings. Listings have the cloud, the mushroom effect, I call it. They sprout, they grow. You deal with a buyer, say you sell them a $200,000 house at 3%, that's a $16,000 commission. Now let's just say you take that listing with that seller, it could be a $36,000 commission. Right? How did I come up with that? You do one transaction, $200,000 at 3%, it's a $6,000 commission. Right? The seller. And people don't think this is possible. I could use a real life example. And he's smiling because he knows I'm going to pick on him. Rocco. Prospected a for sale by owner. Got the listing. Got the buyer. Got a buyer from an open house. Listed their house, sold them another house, and there was one other one in there, right? He got 5 transactions from one FSBO call. And that 5 transaction makes a big difference to your bottom line as an agent. Where if he just worked with one buyer, yeah, you could put him in your system, you're going to work the referrals from it, but that's a transaction. And then you have to hope for referrals. But one for sale by owner call turned into 5 transactions. And some people think, oh, wow, Rocco got lucky. It wasn't like he just called that one for sale by owner. So that's how it's the mushroom, and that's how you leverage it. And not that much more. One prospecting event turned into 5 transactions. Right? Look at that compared to and that didn't really cost him anything but his time, his energy, and hard work. Compare that off at 5 deals that you paid off to get from Zillow. What's the greater return? Yes, you have to trade your time, and time is huge, but what a great return. Right? I always say, I used to use Bill Gates in this example. I'm going to use Jeff Bezos. Because on my way in, I heard Jeff Bezos. Everyone know who Jeff Bezos is? The founder of Amazon. I found out today he's worth $150 billion today, after Amazon Prime Day. He can buy the NFL. He doesn't have to buy an NFL team. He can buy the NFL. Jeff Bezos can make another $150 billion. And the way he's going, he probably will. Jeff Bezos can never be 25 again, no matter how much money he has, right? So the time is really important. Rocco in that scenario traded time and energy, right? But that's why I say too, don't fall too much in the traps of the online portals and things like that, because you don't have to. And again, they're not bad. It's a whole nother subject, but I love using that example from Rocco. It also leverages time. According to the NAR, National Association of Realtors. What is the average amount of time a realtor spends dealing with one buyer? Anyone know the answer? Too much? Any guesses? Somebody throw me a life vest, someone. 40 hours. That's correct. 40 hours. He's heard that before from me. 40 hours with one buyer. Do you know how much time on average you spend, according to NAR, with one seller? Anyone but Eric? 10 hours. The same amount. 40 hours compared to 10 hours. So not only can you leverage financials with the listings, you can also leverage your time. So you can deal with more sellers in the same amount of time as you're dealing with buyers. Does that make sense to everyone? Prospecting time. How much time should be spent prospecting? An hour a day? 3 hours a day?
2 hours.
2 hours? It's really up to you. Bare minimum, you should be spending at least 15 minutes a day. Prospecting could be putting together a mailer, making phone calls, reaching out to your sphere, anything like that, right? Those are you should be prospecting. I'm a big believer, I like to prospect in the morning. I'm a morning person, right? I don't go to the gym in the morning, I don't go. I find 1,000,001 reasons on my ride home, right? With the gym bag in the back, like I'm going to the gym. But like, well, I gotta stop here, I'm going to the gym, and then I just walk in my house with the gym bag. But if I go to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning, I go, it's done, I forget about it. So that's my attitude with prospecting. I like to get it done in the morning. Other people are night people, I get that. Right? Some people are like, Carl, you wake up at 5:30 in the morning? Like, yeah, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. Like, I can never do that. What am I supposed to do? Well, you just shift everything back. It all whatever works for you. But your career changes when you commit to prospecting daily. A little bit about my story. When I got into real estate, I was 25 years old. This is my 12th year in real estate, so I was 25. Yeah. 2006, 7, whatever year it was. I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm like, my friends can't even buy a car, forget buying a house. So I can't use my sphere. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I'll give my broker at the time credit. He goes, you know, Carl, I think the market's going to shift. Why don't you start calling on financial institutions, banks, about REOs? I'm like, yeah, I could do that. From April to February, I went in the office every day and did nothing but cold call banks. And this is when banks were like, an REO? The market's tremendous. We don't have an REO. I'm like, well, I'm hoping one day you do, and you're going to remember me calling you now, and you're going to feel pity. Like, I used to make a joke out of it. And I used to go to the sheriff sales and prospect the REOs. I had no money. I was living back at my parents' house. What did I have? I had time. I was single. I was like, all right, I'll work. I called and prospected for 8 months. And you know what most of the agents used to say? Oh, Carl got handed this. Carl got lucky. No. I used to laugh. I used to hear that. Like, yeah, you're right. I got lucky. Not a big believer in luck. Right? They didn't see me sitting in the office for 40 hours a week, not making any money, just making calls. Because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't have training. I didn't have something like this to come to. It was me, a phone, and Google. And we went to town. You know? And I used to Google Bank of America or at that time it was Countrywide. And I used to call the 1-800 number. The general one, hi, this is Carl. There's a house that down the street from me that got foreclosed on. And I would just dig until I got to the right person. And then I'd build that relationship. And then in Mushroom Cloud, I got lucky one day. Luckily, the 8 months of hard work before it made me lucky that one day. So you can't always look, right? But what did I do? And this is before I would even say this. I didn't get attached to what happened on a daily. I got attached to the process. Like, if I keep doing this, if I keep making the calls, I keep making these contacts, I keep this, timing happened, market burst, And they were like, hey, Carl, it's a funny thing. I got an REO in Edison, right? It was actually in Edison. And you've been calling me for so long, I don't know who else to give it to. I'm like, well, isn't it my lucky day? Right? For sale by owners. Does everyone here know who Mike Ferry is? You probably know a lot of people know who Tom Ferry is, right? Real estate trainer. Tom Ferry is his dad. Tom Ferry is the son. Mike Ferry is the dad. I like Mike Ferry. Mike Ferry is a very, very he's not like, hey, you just put Facebook posts up and you sell houses. He's like, hey, you cold call, you prospect, you do it consistently, it's going to pay off. So this is his quote. If you're a real estate broker and think your agents are in the office too much, just put a FSBO sign by the front door. Your agents will never come to the office again. This is by far the warmest territory to get into. Who's here has been in the business for over 15 years? 20 years? People have been in the business for over 20 years, 15 years. Was your training this when you started? Hi, welcome to real estate. Here are the yellow pages. Just start calling people and ask if they want to buy or sell. And just call, and just call, and just call, and just call. That was real estate training 20 years ago. That was real estate training 12 years ago. Right? Call. That is cold calling at its truest sense because you have no idea if anybody has any interest in buying or selling real estate. For sale by owners are already demonstrating that they want to sell their house. All they're demonstrating is they don't want to sell the house with you. Right? So people are calling the phone books. Hey, thinking about buying, selling, blah, blah, blah. They're not even worrying about for sale by owners. And I'm a cold caller by nature. I don't know if I could cold call a phone book. That's tough. What's the futures of for sale by owners? Who in this room thinks we're going to have less for sale by owners in the next 12 months? Because if you raise your hand, I think you're dead wrong. I think we're only going to see a spike in for sale by owners in the next 12 months. Why is that? You can go on Make Me Move on Zillow. I don't need an agent. I'll just get professional pictures and I'll put it up myself. You're going to see more and more people try to do it. The market gets better, right? What happens when the market gets better? People start driving around in Mini Coopers. Call themselves Foxtons. They hire people like Olivier, because Olivier used to be the poster boy for Foxtons, so at least they knew how to hire good people. What else happens? Help You Sell comes around. All these discount brokers come back in the market. Purple Bricks. People don't realize about Purple Bricks. If you really look into it, you have to pay the fee whether or not the house sells. So if the house doesn't, what incentive does the agent have to really get your house sold? They're collecting their fee regardless. But it's only going to get more and more competitive like that. So you're going to see more and more for sale by owners. More people just put it on Zillow. This is why people have to double down on how to have conversations with for sale by owners and how to consult for sale by owners, not sell for sale by owners. Big difference. We're going to go into that. What can you offer? Right? You could do the class. Hey, I work a lot in this area. I might have a buyer. Right? Again, now this is all start talking about dialogue. And we're going to go more into the process. You can offer them things that they need, seller's disclosures. You can offer them a for sale by owner package. If you're prospecting for sale by owners, you should have some type of package that you're giving the for sale by owners. And you're not asking for anything in return. Right? It's not this like, I'll give it to you. Wait. Were you going to list with me? Oh, got it. Missed it again. That is not prospecting for sale by owners. Prospecting for sale by owners is, here you go. I hope this information helps. If you need me, I'm here. Well, why would you do that? I don't know, because you know what? You might have a friend that needs to give a realtor, and maybe I gave you some value and you'll recommend me. CMAs, market analysis. How many people price their house based on active comps? How many times do you go to a listing presentation and they're like, it's so funny how sellers start knowing every single house when they put their house on the market. Like 3 houses around the corner is on the market for $475, and you know what doesn't have this bottom. I'm like, have you ever been in the house? They're like, no, we actually don't even really like them. I'm like, what are you talking about this house? You don't know, you haven't been in it. Of course you don't say that, you're thinking it. You're like, oh yeah, great, well, right? So it's really, really important that Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this just recently sold. Here you go. Thought it might help with your pricing. Any questions, let me know. We're not really, people think we're giving away this golden information. I hate to break it to you, with all these online portals and everything, this stuff is so easy to get. It's not as golden as it used to be. My father was in real estate. He used to tell me the stories about the MLS books. I'm like, yeah, we used to get delivered on Thursdays was the big day. We get our MLS books. It's not like that anymore. The information's so out there. Vendor list. Right? Most for sale by owners still going to want an attorney to represent them. Might want to give them a list of mortgage brokers. Who's thinking, well, why would you give a for sale by owner a mortgage broker? Well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, it's been Mr. and Mrs. Fizbo, in my experience, a lot of for sale by owners sometimes deal with buyers who aren't quite qualified. Here's some mortgage brokers we know and trust. If you want, have the buyer call them and speak to the guy so you have a little bit more confidence when you're accepting an offer. Right? But see, it's all the dialogue. Open house signs, scripts and dialogues. Hey, this is what you should ask. Things like that. This is a 10-week process. This is not a 1-week process. I told you, I had an agent go, oh, Carl, I went out there, I made contact, I didn't get it. Or, Carl, I was prospecting this for sale by owner, and 3 weeks into it, they listed with somebody else. I said, well, that just means somebody else could be further down the line than you were. This is my favorite thing. Week 1. What happens when somebody just lists their house as a for sale by owner? Right? What is the for sale by owner's attitude? Week 1.
I don't want to pay a commission. I got this. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry about it. If I need you, I'll call you.
Leave me alone. They are so excited. And then what's happening? The herds of realtors. You should list your house with me right now. Come on, you need this. Let me in. Let me give you CMA, blah, blah, blah. Don't you know you get more money with a realtor than you get with a for sale by owner? And the person's just like, goodbye. Goodbye. Slams the door. Then that realtor walks away and goes, oh man, I don't like prospecting Fizbos. They just don't get me. You're trying to convince somebody's at their highest point. They're excited. They're like, I'm going to do this. You got to let them go through the process. The realtors who are getting the for sale by owners are the ones who are not there at week 1, but they're the one that's there at week 6, week 8. Oh man, this is getting hard. Maybe I do need a realtor, right? But everyone's crashing right when they first get on the market. I see it like, oh, this, I'm going to get this. But the realtor who's there at week 6, week 7, when the seller's thinking this is harder now, that's when you get the listing, not week 1. And if you tell the realtor or you tell the for sale by owner, you're going to call, if they ask you to call them at a certain time, call them at that time. If you say you're going to do something, I know this sounds really crazy. Everyone follow me on this, really? We're going to go really deep right now. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Ooh, that's why you guys came today. If the for sale by owner seller says, please call me at 6, call them at 6. Don't call them at 6:30 and say, hey, oh, well, I was running late, blah, blah, blah. Because that seller's, right? If you're going to say you're going to do something, do it. And I hate to say it, but too many agents in the business don't follow through with that. So week 1, you want to make that face-to-face relationship, or you want to make that phone contact, build some rapport, offer them something of value. Hey, I have some information here. We have a marketing package. It's called How to List Your House, How to Sell Your House Like a Realtor. It could give you some good marketing tips. Do you mind if I just send it over to you? No strings attached. Why are you sending me this? Because again, maybe you know somebody who needs to buy or sell. Maybe I help you out a little bit and you recommend me. I'm in the relationship business, not in the transactional business. Right? When you start thinking like that, this business gets better too. Too many agents are still chasing every single transaction and not chasing relationships. So week 2, you can hand deliver the FSBO package. Week 3, you can deliver a CMA. Week 4, you can hand deliver the vendors list. Week 5, you can make a phone call. Beyond that, you can contact weekly by phone. And we're going to go into some of the scripts. But do you see what we're not doing here? We're not every day following up, because who wants to get followed up every day? Has anyone ever filled in information for a car online? Fill information online for a car, right? God bless car people, man. Boom, 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 every day till you block the number.
I tell them too.
Hey, but you know what? I give them credit because they're doing it. But here with the for sale by owner, once a week, you just want to stay in front of them because you're just hoping that one time you catch them where they're just at that frustration point. Hey, Carl, you know, and this has happened. I dealt with for sale by owner. Once a week, I was just, hey, what's going on? How you doing? Just want to see you check in. Is there anything I can help you with? You know, Carl, I just had someone make an offer and they just walked away. They never reappeared. They didn't say it, but they ghosted them. So yeah, unfortunately that happens, blah, blah, blah. It's tough. He goes, you know, I was really disappointed. Why don't you come over and take a look at the house? I'd love to. All right? And then once they said that, then I set it off a whole nother system. That's a whole different training about listing presentation mode and what's going to happen before I walk in that door and what's going to happen after I walk in that door. And I'm going to wow that seller. I'm going to give them the best experience, whether or not they list with me. Truth is, 50% of your competition is going to quit after week 1. After week 1, they're going to go up there. Here's my business card. You want to sell, you call me. All right? Good. We laugh, but some realtors do this. They didn't call me, forget about them. I'm on to the next, their loss. I was Circle of Excellence Magenta. They don't want to deal with me? Forget it, I'm a top producer. Right? That person's gone. Week 2, like, I knocked, gave them the card, go back week 2. Me again. How's it going? Oh, you might get an offer? That's great, okay. Thank you. Walk away. Never come back. Week 3, week 4, right? After a month, if you're still there, nobody else is there. All right? And again, if you're going to do this, just get attached to once a week, this is my for sale by owner follow-up day. Whether I'm doing it in person or I'm doing it on the phone. It might just take you a couple hours and a cup of coffee to do it. Right? But what happens is agents get like, and listen, I've been there, so I'm not like, you know, I still get there. People are like, oh, I got to call all these for sale by owners today. I didn't sleep great last night. The Yankee game went to extra innings. Oh. All right. I'll call them later. And then what happens? Later turns into a long lunch. Like, oh, I'm full. Can't make calls now. Then they don't make the calls. And we're laughing. It's happened to me, right? Just push it off. But the agents that are consistently doing it that once a week, hey, Tuesdays from 9 to 12, no matter what's happening, I'm prospecting. Oh, you have a home inspection? So we can't do, and then a lot of people, and then when you get really dialed in and you're dealing with a buyer, say, listen, this is the days, 9 to 12, I'm not available on Tuesdays, I have a obligation, whatever it might be. You need to build this stuff in to your schedule, and you need to take control. How many times was somebody going to prospect, but then an emergency C of O or, it's crazy stuff happens, and you just run out the door? Or that buyer calls you, goes, I want to see this house right now. You're like, all right, prospecting over. It's happened to me, especially in the beginning. But now, I mean, I am like a Google Calendar fanatic. It's all color-coded and like, these are my focus days. These are buffer days. These are days off, right? And as crazy as it sounds, I get more done because of it. If you're still around in the 8th week and a FSBO has self-discovered you are different from the herd, right? How many times have you dealt with somebody, a seller, buyer, and they say, wow, you're really different than when I thought about realtors? Has anyone ever had a client say that to them? Right? They're picturing it's like in the movies, and it's, you know, I feel like realtors are always like smoking cigarettes in movies. Like, it's weird. But you know, our job is to change the perception and give people a great experience. The goal of Visit One is to simply put a name with a face or to build rapport on that phone call. Like I said before, it's not to sell. It's to establish that you're there as a consultant, someone that can help. It doesn't have to be long, and it shouldn't be long. Act as a consultant. Don't go in selling, because you're done. Hi, my name is Carl with RE/MAX First Realty. I was driving by, I noticed a sign in your yard. I wanted to stop by, introduce myself, give you a card, and let you know that if you ever need anything, it'd be my pleasure to help you. Thanks, and have a great day. All right? It could be one of these, hey, I do a lot of work in this area. I have buyers all the time in this area. Here's my card. In case I reach out to you, you can put a face to a name. Have a great day. I wish you the best luck. What's going to happen? The seller's not going to be like, oh man, that person. Whew. But if you go in there with the, hey, how you doing? Circle of Excellence Magenta. You need me. It's going to be a different conversation, right? Anyone have any questions so far? I mean, I know none of this is really earth-shattering. But if you have questions, just raise your hand. Visit 2, 5 to 7 days after visit 1, go back, hand deliver for sale by owner package. You know, at our office we have the package. It's through the center. You can download it. It's editable. It's called How to Market Your House Like a Realtor. And there's a lot of direct response marketing built into that package. Because people are like, well, why are we going to tell them how to market like a realtor? Well, we're telling them also what to look out for and the pitfalls and the challenges you have doing it on your own. But it's about getting them engaged, about building rapport. Hi, I just happened to be in the neighborhood and I thought I'd drop this by. I definitely think it can help you in the sale of your home. Again, you're consulting, you're not selling. How did it go this week? Since we talked last week, how did it go? I had 35 buyers through. Oh, that's great, right? They think it's good. You're like, oh my God, you had 35 buyers through and you didn't sell this house? Or then you're thinking like, he didn't really have 35 buyers come through here. He probably had 0 buyers. That's why he's telling me 35. This is all stuff when I used to do it. Like, I remember being that. I'm like, oh, you had 35 buyers in your house. Oh, that's great. I'm like, ooh, you really need me. I would say that in my head, not to the actual seller. Let's be clear. Yeah, don't be like, well, Carl, I did what you did in the training. I told him you really needed me. Like, oh, no, that was... Move on to the next. So, is there anything I can help you with? If you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to call. I mean, this is how you're building relationship. You're building trust. And it really doesn't take that much time. And there's going to be more and more for sale by owners. And the more and more you get comfortable and practice and master this, the more you're going to have listings. And if you have listings in this market that are priced right, do you think they're going to sell? Yes. Right? It's not like it was 7 years ago where you take a listing and go, I think it's priced right, but it might not sell because things aren't moving. Right? I know there's a lot of agents in this room that went through that market. In this market, if it's priced right and everything, it's not a question of whether or not it's going to sell, how fast it's going to sell. Send thank you note after visit. A handwritten note. I'm going to give you guys a little tip on a website. Thankyou.io is the website. Thanks.io. Thanks.io. For 89 cents, you can send out handwritten notes to people on a postcard. Right? I mean, what's postage? 52 cents? 51 cents? 45? What's it?
47.
47. For 89 cents, you could have it all done. And you could even like automate it through some programs. So I get excited about that stuff. I'll refrain from having you guys have to hear about it. But for 89 cents, thanks.io, it's great. And you could even sign up for it, and they'll send you a card just so you can see how it is, how the quality is for free. But it's great. You know, hey, thanks for taking the time. Or if you do write a handwritten card, I'm a big note. If you go to Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks, they have $5 gift cards that you can personalize and put your contact information on it. You have to pay like a one-time setup fee for the graphics and stuff. Hey, thank you so much. If you need anything, here you go. P.S. Have a cup of coffee on me. You send it out. I mean, Starbucks, you get regular coffee for $5. You can't go crazy on Frappuccinos and stuff, but you get the point. But it's your branding, and you're also just giving them a little something of value. Visit 3, 5 to 7 days after your second visit. Go back and hand deliver a CMA. Hey, Mr. Miss, I just want to make sure you're up to date on the latest comps. You might already have this, but here you go. You can put it in a nice binder. Use that machine we have where it binds things, Unibind. Bind it up, hand it off. Again, you're not asking for anything in return. If they ask again, why are you doing this? Again, just, hey, if I can help you sell a house, you might refer me to someone else. That's all. Does that sound fair? Yes. Good. I was thinking about you the other day and prepared a price analysis for you. Again, you can ask it, how'd it go this week? Is there anything else I can help you with? If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to call. Give FSBO a summary of the solds in the area and explain only if they ask. Here you go. Here are some recent sales. Here are some things under contract, which would be good to know. If you have any questions, just call me. My contact information's here. Right? I mean, this is so, it's funny because every time I do this training, I'm like, a lot of this stuff is just so basic, but the basics still really work, right? Send a thank you again after the visit. Again, you see, what we're doing here is we're not just talking about how to get FSBOs. What we're talking about is building a process to prospect for sale by owners. And it's a huge difference. If you build a system and a pillar of your business, and then there's no questioning, what do I do today? What do I do? What do I do next? This is what I'm going to do with every seller that's for sale by owner. And if I do this many, and then you get to the point where you're like, if I can prospect this many for sale by owners, my conversion rate is X. It starts becoming more predictable. The problem when it's not predictable or it loses its fun is when you try it once. And then you let all the noise and distractions get in with what you want to do prospecting. You have to look at prospecting like it's an appointment that cannot be changed. Because what happens, we've all been there. You get a bunch of deals under contract, you get a couple deals under contract, whatever. Then you get those deals that just go haywire, and you're focused on those deals, and you're just focused to get those deals closed. Those deals close, and you're like, oh man, I have nothing going on. But if you prospect that whole entire time while you're dealing with those deals, then you keep the pipeline going, right? Because this business gets better as your pipeline stays more consistent. And you eliminate the ups and downs of this business, right? Visit 4, 5 to 7 days after visit 3, you go back and hand deliver a vendor list. It could be home inspectors, mortgage reps. It can be, it's a whole thing. Landscapers, handyman. How many times does anyone here belong to like a community Facebook group? Like, right? I think I'm in one. And I think the question I see more than anything else, does anybody have a good handyman or contractor? Because everybody feels like they've been burned by one. So a handyman is a good one, right? Since you're getting closer to selling your home, I thought this list might be of value of you. Real estate attorneys. It's good to put on this vendor list. How did it go this week? Anything else I can help you with? If you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to call. Right? These are everything that it could take. You guys don't have to take pictures. If you want a copy of these slides so you could go back and study it later, just give Olivier in the back your business card, and we'll get you out a PDF of all the slides. Send card after. After visit 1, you have to talk to the seller face-to-face. You don't have to catch them at home after that. If you do, great. But if you don't, then just leave the information at the front door from the driveway. Call and let the seller know that you left a package for him. If leaving this information, put in a large envelope with no real estate information. Why don't you want to put real estate information on it? Because the next realtor that comes is like a Frisbee. Right? And we laugh. I wouldn't do it, but you know people do it, right? It's like that really great property that's vacant and the key disappears. Funny. And I've had this happen as a listing agent. I call the other, you're the last person to show it. You were able to show it? Yeah, like, what's funny, the key's missing. I didn't take the key. I'm like, vanished. Regardless of whether or not you meet the agent, you meet them again face to face, drop the information, always follow up with a thank you note, text. Sally, great to see you again yesterday. Sorry I missed you yesterday. Hope you find this information helpful. Have a great week. Weeks 5 and beyond, do it by the phone. 7 days after visit number 4, begin your weekly phone calls. Hi, this is Carl of RE/MAX First Realty. Just touching base with you. How'd it go this week? Is there anything I can help you with? If you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to call. Repeat the call weeklies until the house is listed or sold. Right? It doesn't even take that much time. Like when you really break it down to how much time it's going to take per week to follow up with one FSBO, 5-10 minutes. You're making the call, it's not a lot. Remember, your goal is to follow up every week until the house list is sold. That's what separates you from the competition, is systemizing this. Don't be surprised if visitor goes, why are you doing all this? What is it in for you? I think we covered that. So this is what we're going to do. So does anyone have any questions? Because that's basically the for sale by owner process. Places to get your information for sale by owners, right? There's a lot of them. One, driving around, you get yard signs. You see yard signs. Who's been that realtor that's driving down the street and you're, right? My parents were in real estate. I remember sitting in the back of a station wagon with the brown panels that we used to go, to Wally's World on trips. With me in the background writing down 732. Here you go, right? Zillow has for sale by owners. Craigslist has for sale by owners. Good tip is frustrated landlords are good FSBOs. You turn them into FSBOs and turn them into sales. A lot of people get in, and we're going to talk about this next month at the training. A lot of people get into real estate investing, and then as soon as they get into it and they have one rental property that goes bad, they want to get out. So that's a good source of leads. Sometimes you could call the landlords who have on Craigslist properties listed for rent. A lot of times they don't even know what the value is, right? And all this stuff we're talking about now doesn't have to cost you anything but time and hard work. It's just putting the effort in. So what we did is we're talking a little bit about this. How can I automate the for sale by owner follow-up for you? So what we did is, and this applies to everyone who's with our offices, in Follow-Up Boss, we automated an action plan for sale by owners. So if you're dealing with a for sale by owner and you speak with them, you activate the action plan, and it's going to give you 12 weeks of automated follow-up that's personalized, including the for sale by owner kit. So go in, check it out. Try to make it as easy as possible for you. But you still have to make the phone calls, because that's the most important part. But it's in there. If you have any questions about it, you can obviously come see me later about it. I don't want to spend too much time on it here. But that is nuts and bolts, your for sale by owner. I know I didn't say anything today that's like earth shattering. You know, it's not like coming back from like a Tony Robbins thing, like, I'm a new man, right? I'm a new woman. I'm a peak producer. But it's really just the basics. So I just want to thank everybody for coming. I hope you guys could come next month to the Real Estate Investing and Financing seminar we're going to do. And the Mega Agent Panel in September is going to be awesome, because these are people that I've learned a lot from, and they're doing this at a really high level. And like I said, if you wanted today's slides, just give Olivier your card, and we'll make sure we get it out to you. Is there any questions? Oh, Freddie.
I have a question. I mean, there are how to deal with people who sell by themselves, sell the house by themselves. But how we stop them by selling the house by themselves before they decide to sell by themselves?
You can't. You got to let people take their path. If somebody's really dead set on being a for sale by owner, I always say you got to let them walk their path. They got to explore it themselves. If they really want to do it, they're going to do it.
But is there a least for disadvantage for the people who sell by owner?
I'm sorry?
To explain them the disadvantage.
You can explain there's an advantage, but you know, most people who are really dead set on it already have the mindset that they could do it on their own. And I think it's really tough to try to not convince them. What I would do is say, hey, listen, try it on your own. Go for a month. This is the stuff that you might need that's going to help you along the way. I'm going to try to help you for the next month. If you can sell it on your own, great. If not, at the end of the month, I'll be happy. Then we can revisit putting it on the market. But I think if you go more combative, like, no, you shouldn't, you're getting into that week one rut of trying to let me show you instead of being a consultant. That was a good question. But I look so goofy. So thanks for dealing with that. But we will make a contribution to the Wounded Warriors Project on everyone's behalf here today. So again, thanks for everyone for coming. Okay.